In this episode, we sit down with Dan Shrigley, community founder and mental health advocate. In this episode, we talk about the conversation that Dan had with his dad after his diagnosis of depression and how this sparked his reason why in wanting to help others on his mission. We also discuss Dan's journey to Japan, the culture lessons that he learned, and he also teaches us a little bit of Japanese as well. This episode is not to be missed. I hope you enjoy it. So you talk a lot on your socials about reigniting that spark, after life's challenges and redundancy. How exactly is it that you found that spark and you reignited that motivation, that sense of purpose that you talk a lot about?
Yeah, it's a question I asked myself like a few months ago, because I was like, how I know what the problem is, but how do I fix it? Because bless them, my parents were kind of saying to me, where's Dan gone? And I was like, yeah, that's what it feels like. And I think it had been happening for a little bit of time, but I didn't really recognize it in myself. I was starting to hear it from other people in a kind way. And I was like, okay, this is the problem, but how can I fix it? So I sat down, did a bit of Googling, to be honest. And lots of the advice was, and from advice from friends as well, was to revisit what makes you happy, to push myself to try new things. And I think a big part for me as well is really doubling down on what my passion and what my purpose is, which is something that I started to explore a year ago, because I was like, I've got so much energy to give, but I don't know where to give it. And I was doing my head in. So I worked with like a coach and we kind of worked it through, and through things that happened in my life, I found like quite a clear why. So it's kind of a mix of lots of different things, but it's kind of summarizes that, doing what makes me happy, pushing myself to try new things, setting new goals as well as a big one, and then really like doubling down on what makes me tick.
I love that. So you spoke then about your why. And again, I was having a look through your socials, love the content, and you did a video on your why. So explain to me, like, what is your why?
Yeah, so in a really simple sense, my mission is to prevent what happened to my dad from happening to other people.
Okay.
So 5 years ago, Dad was in hospital for about 6 months with severe depression. Nearly didn't make it through. Fortunately, he did. And he's all good now. I kind of call him Steve version 2.0. And I think I kind of glossed over it at the time. And then in recent years, I've kind of spoken to Dad about it a lot, asked him lots of questions about it. And the more we spoke about it, I was like, well, this was quite preventable. And so, as we know, especially men's mental health is an ever-growing problem that doesn't seem to, as much as we throw at it, doesn't seem to be getting any better. I think there's lots of great works being done, but it's, the data that we see, unfortunately, is there's still lots to do. And so that's my why. It's essentially, this happened to my dad, and I don't want it to happen to anyone else.
I love that, mate. It's the same for myself,
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful for you that your dad made it through it. My brother sadly didn't. My brother was, he passed away 10 years ago now. But again, the same. It's the why. My why is I want to prevent families going through what we went through. Yeah. So I love that, mate. We're obviously on the same journey.
100%.
And when you messaged me and we had that conversation, I thought, yeah, definitely, it's we're on the same journey, the same why almost. So I thought it would make for a great conversation, and yeah, here we are. So you said 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2020.
How old would you have been at that point?
I was 23.
So we're a similar age then, aren't we? So I'm 29.
Yeah. 28. Yeah.
And I always say when I'm speaking about my brother's passing and the whole subject of mental health and mental ill health, if I'd have only have known what I know now back then, and you said about a preventative, could I have prevented what would have happened? But again, that's life, isn't it? You can't go back and change it.
No,
You can only
yeah.
take what you've learned and bring it to today. So what was the main things that you learned in that situation then?
Yeah, I think one of the main things was, or the questions that I get now is, well, how do you help someone who is in that place? Like, what do you say? What do you do? Because you so desperately want to help, but you don't know how? I got a message from, bless her, someone on TikTok the other day being like, my dad's just gone to hospital. I don't know what to do. I was like, it's okay. Like, you know, and it's actually doing less is sometimes more, simply just being there to give a hug or just simply physically being there, telling them about your day. You're not going to have all the solutions, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, last September I sat down with Dad and I said, well, why do you think you became severely depressed? Which isn't your normal topic of conversation around the dinner table. But that's what I talk about now when I go into companies and share this story, is that Dad's answer was so interesting and things that I'd never thought about.
What did he say?
Before. So there were the classic things that I know now around, you know, exercise, diet, stress at work, things like that. But there were two things that really stood out for me for what Dad said, and they were a lack of purpose and a lack of connection. So Dad felt purpose-wise that he didn't get any purpose from work.
What was his job?
He worked at Nationwide Building Society as a project manager.
Right.
He was there for about 30 years.
Right.
And then he put a lot of his purpose into my sister and I, but then we moved out.
Okay.
So then he felt like he lost his purpose as a dad. And then he started having thoughts of, why am I here? Which is a very scary place to find yourself in. I think more common than people realize, but a scary one. And then that lack of connection.
You can see that, yeah. It's for me, I think where I found myself was finding the purpose in doing Tom's talks.
Yeah.
So I understand that point of view, definitely. Did you find it difficult having that conversation?
Yeah, I did, because I think when it all happened, I was in my final year at uni, I was doing my exams, I just went into logic mode and I was like, right, well, I've got my exams, I've got to do them. Dad then came out of hospital and things started to improve, and then I was like, oh yeah, okay, well that's it then, it's all good. And then ever since starting to discover my why and post this content, I was like, wow, I've just buried this under the sand and I haven't opened this. And I did a talk back in February and I was going through my lines and I could just feel myself tearing up. I was like, okay, there's still lots that I haven't really processed here. And then, yeah, when I was asking Dad, it's not an easy conversation, but it's brought us like a lot closer together, which is really cool.
No, I love that. I take my hat off to you for having that conversation, because how many people go through a similar thing, some make it, some don't make it, but then never actually get to the root cause of why it happened. And, you know, by having those conversations, not only does it make you feel better about the situation, it's like a weight off your chest and it answers maybe some unanswered questions, but it also is a preventative, like you've mentioned before, for it happening again in the future. If you talk about it now and you talk about the different elements of why he was depressed and the causes, then you can then foresee that happening again in the future. Because life is, you know, as you very well know, mate, it's a roller coaster, isn't it? It's up and down. And when life's good right now, you know, there's going to be times in the future, but from having those open and honest conversations, you can catch it before it's too late.
Exactly. You're spot on. And I think that's a huge part that I've realized recently is it's, you know, unfortunately, once someone is at the very bottom of that hole, we can get them out of that, but it's not easy. But when someone's just going in it, it's so much easier to get them out. And so it's that preventative lens, just like with heart disease or diabetes, like we go for runs every week to keep ourselves fit and healthy. So it's like sharing how we're feeling or just listening to a mate. For me, that should be viewed as exactly the same thing as going for a run.
Definitely. How did because you mentioned about him losing purpose from being a father to you and your sister.
Yeah.
Sister younger or older than you? Older. How did he find his purpose again?
Yeah, so when he got better, he worked in corporate for 30 years. I think there was that element of, you know, had a mortgage, had you know, my sister and I to raise, you know, along with my mum. But since we then moved out, Dad got better. He's now a handyman. He has his own handyman business.
Oh, wow.
He loves it. He's like a real people person.
Yeah.
My grandpops was a carpenter, so there's like skills that run down in the family, haven't been passed down to me yet. I need to
Me and you
get
both,
my act together.
Don't talk to me about me and DIY.
But he runs a business. It gives him a lot of purpose because we live in a village or in the surrounding area. He'll go to people's houses that maybe retired people that physically cannot relay their patio or put up a fence or even put up a painting, something so simple. But it gives him
purpose.
Purpose.
It's doing things for other people, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Feeling like you're needed.
I love that. This episode of the Tom's Talks podcast is proudly sponsored by Unthin, the hair growth company that's helping people feel more confident in their own skin. From supplements to topical product, Unthin is deeply rooted in the science behind helping people with a healthy hair and scalp. You can use the code TOM20, that's TOM20 for 20% off at the checkout. Thank you to Unthin for supporting honest conversations around mental health. You mentioned about the one thing that I always think people take for granted or aren't as aware as they should be is how important your habits are. So you mentioned your dad wasn't eating right or exercising enough. And I know I've seen a lot of your content around running. How important is it to you about your habits and your exercise and your running for your own mental health?
Yeah, it's easily overlooked and easy to stop doing them, but really important. And I think what's challenging is that when you start to feel down or you feel a bit anxious, your habits are the first thing that go out the window.
Yeah.
Because it's like you wake up, I don't want to get out of bed. The last thing you want to go and do is run a 5K. So it's like there is an element of you've got to go easy on yourself sometimes, and maybe some days it might be like, okay, that's all right. Today I can't do this, but to try and daily-ish to have those regular habits is so important. So for me right now, trying to find this new structure in my life, it is getting outside straight away, having a cup of tea, bit of meditation, going for a run. And so there are some, there's lots of buzzwords in there like meditation and journaling, but it's really helpful because I'm showing up for myself and I'm doing good things for my brain. And yeah, I think exercise is probably the biggest part of that.
You mentioned about it's the being kind to yourself, but also having that get up and go.
Yeah.
There's a really fine line between it, isn't there?
Yeah.
And again, it's a conversation that me and Amy have. Amy's more of the one like, just be kind to yourself. You don't need to go to the gym today. And I'm like, no, I need to go to the gym today because I know I'm going to feel better for it. And that's for me as it is for you. Like exercise is such a crucial part for me and my mental health. It's a case of like, I have to force myself to go sometimes just because I know as a result I will feel much better. But running is something I've got into recently.
Nice.
Although I picked up a bit of an injury, which is annoying. But the high that you get from running is like way different to what you get from going to the gym, I think.
It is. It's a different sense. It's like, and it's such a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
'Cause you're outside and you're just cruising.
Yeah.
And there's also very tangible. Also, as gym is as well, it's quite tangible with like, okay, how much are you benching or whatever. But like with my mate at the moment, he's done a sub 18 5K.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So I've got to take him out for dinner if I don't beat him. And
Well, you beat it?
Not yet, no.
What is your best time?
So like 5 years ago, I did an 18:15.
Wow.
But I'm just not, that was 5 years ago. So I'll get my act together and beat him. But having that goal it's making me run so much more.
Yeah. Do you find it though? Because I found like me and my sister are really competitive, and she did a 5K in like 24 minutes, and I was like, I'm gonna beat it. And then I went out and I absolutely went for it, and I did it in like 23 minutes, which is not bad.
Nice.
But I didn't enjoy it as much. Like, I find it more enjoyable when I just get up and I just go out. I don't put any pressure on it. I just enjoy it for what it is. And if I do a 25-minute or a 26-minute, it's not the end of the world, but it's more about just enjoying the journey. And I think that's the other thing about with the running that I've enjoyed. It's just like getting out, going at your own pace, enjoying the fresh air, and getting back. And like for me, you feel unbelievable.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like, especially on socials nowadays, there's a lot of, you see people doing 50 kilometers before 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Like running from London to Edinburgh in a week, and you just on setting kind of. I think having goals is really important, but I love that, because sometimes it is just get out and move your body. There's no pressure on it. Just enjoy it.
There's the thing, isn't it? I'm quite conscious sometimes of what I post, because I'm trying to motivate people, but then also I'm trying not to make people feel shit about themselves. Like, not so much anymore, but I used to have a routine where I'd be up at 5:30, I'd do an ice bath, I'd go to the gym, and like it would make me feel amazing. But now, like, I don't do it as much. I'm sort of out of the groove. I'm still exercising plenty and I'm eating right and I'm feeling good, I'm looking good, etc. And then I look at some people saying that same thing and I'm like, fucking hell, you're making me feel shit that I'm not doing that. And it's like there's so much information out there, there's so much content. Like you've just said, like people running the full distance, and I'm like, that's great. But like sometimes it's hard to see something, and rather than feeling rubbish, like ultimately you want to feel inspired. But I think there's just such a, I don't know what the word is, there's such a difference between the content these days. Like, I don't know, do you know what I mean?
It's like quite polar.
Yeah.
So you don't see, I mean, actually there are some, you know, great influencers out there, or people who put content out there that are more real. Like there's a great creator called Jenny Fit, and she just runs slowly. She's like, I love it, it's great. And she's built such an amazing following because it's so relatable. Because she's like, well, it's 7-minute K, that's fine. It's great, it's what I do, I love it. I'm doing marathons, it takes me 5 or 6 hours, great. You know?
And it's relatable to the average person, isn't it?
Exactly. It doesn't, whether you do a marathon in 3 hours or 8 hours, it doesn't. Have
you done a marathon yet?
Yeah, I've done one.
I've done a few 10Ks, and I just think, oh, that's long enough for me. I don't know. How long did you do the marathon in?
I did the marathon in 3:23.
Wow.
3 hours 23. And then I did here's me saying, like, you don't have to do that much, isn't it? But I did that, and I did a double marathon to raise money for Mind, like whilst I was at uni. So that was a marathon back to back.
Wow.
But now I'm like you, I don't like 5-6K max. Because like that's the other thing, doing crazy distances, like it's not good for your, in time, like you just ruin your knees. And,
I found that now. I've done like 3 or 4 10Ks. Do a 10K on a weekend is like my long run. And I've only done 4 weeks. I'm doing it at the week and I'm already injured, so it's not working out great. It's not that well. So just going back to the experiences with your dad, and you know, thank God he got through the other side. You know, we talk a lot about the masculinity side of things with men, and you know, there is this real stigma in men still to this day, despite the work that you're doing, I'm doing, and many other amazing people are doing, but there is still that stigma. Why do you think that is?
I think the first part of that, it's so embedded, that masculine stigma of keeping things closed. I think it's gonna take a while to shift it. I think the second part of it is, which I've been thinking a lot about recently, is that for a long time there's been a great message out there of men need to talk, men need to talk, men need to talk. But which is a great message, but you need someone to listen. And so that's a really important part of it. And the third bit of it is, again, is like when you're a kid and your mum is like, tidy your room, tidy your room, tidy your room, it makes you want to do it less. And so I think it's a great message, men need to talk, men need to talk. But I think for me, sometimes I felt a kind of unrealistic expectation that I need to share everything every day or every week. But actually, I think we just need to meet guys in the middle and be like, look, if you're seeing your mates once a week, if you share something twice a year, that's great. If it's once a year, that's fine. As long as you share when you need to, that's what it's all about. So I feel like we've gone from guys not sharing at all to then basically ask them to go from a 0 to running a marathon. And it's like, we just want to get you to the couch to the 5K. And that's great. And when we got to the 5K, then we can get to the marathon. Because ideally, you know, I'm like, we're probably pretty similar. Like from our experiences, we've kind of learnt to share more. We're a bit more used to it. It's more comfortable. But the first time you're doing it might feel really alien. And you also might not know why you should do it. Like, okay, men need to talk more. Yeah, but why? And I don't think lots of men have been told why. There's so many reasons why. But again, what's the incentive? Like, why should I do that? I'm not going to do it just because someone else is telling me to do it. If I don't know what it's going to give me, like I don't go and buy a chocolate bar because of what it doesn't make me. I don't buy it, like I buy it because it tastes nice and it's like nice to sit in front of the telly with a chocolate bar. So that's kind of yeah.
I think that with the men talking, for me, and I don't know if you're the same, it's the thing that we should be educating men on is men don't talk for the reasons that you've just said. One is we're scared that people won't know what to say.
Yeah.
But it's not, for me, it's not that people don't know what to say. And when somebody asked me the same question, what would you do when you approach somebody that's struggling? Or how do you approach somebody that you think might be struggling? And it's a case of, you don't have to have the right words to say, you just have to have the ability to listen with empathy, non-judgmentally. And I think that's the missing piece. I think, like the classic example is, isn't it? Like, hi mate, you okay? Yeah mate, I'm fine.
Yeah.
When in reality, hi mate, you okay? They want to say, no, I feel like shit. But they don't say that because they're scared that you're not going to have the right things to say. In reality, you don't have to say anything. You just need to listen. And the thing about listening, to the point that you were saying, is that listening, rather than keeping everything in there, keeping it tight as a knot, it just makes it 10 times worse. In my experience, the ability of letting go, getting it off your chest, it's just a massive weight's been lifted. And the conversation I had with my dad when I was in a tough spot, for me, that was the starting point that I needed to get better. For me, it was the point of, I was getting to before the conversation, I didn't know why I felt the way I did and what was going on. But when I had the conversation, this massive weight had been lifted, but also I got to the root cause of the reason why I was feeling that way. And that's the other thing.
You found the solution, and eventually,
yeah.
And that, the first step is someone to just listen. Like I couldn't agree more. Especially, I think it's a guy thing. You go into logic, problem solving mode. So when a mate's like, even if they do say I'm struggling, you're like, all right, okay, option 1, option 2, option 3, and then we'll check in, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That sometimes someone just needs someone. To just
you don't need to have an army regimented way.
Yeah, you do. It comes from a really good place.
Yeah,
but it's it is just, there's a great guy called Russ. He's called Talking Tradesman. He has a podcast. Anyway,
I think I've seen it.
Yeah, and he worked on the Samaritans line, and he was like, I was just trained to listen. I didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And when he said that to me, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is just, if I was opening up to you now, I'd probably just want you just to listen, and not like,
interrupt.
Yeah, I was on the golf course the other week. My mate was like, "Oh, how you feeling about your break?" I was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's a bit tough." And he was like, "All right, then on to what club are you taking?" But inside of me, I was like, I wanted to keep going. And bless him, he didn't know. He didn't mean it in that way. But it was like,
listening is a skill, though.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, people speak with the intention of you. People ask questions with the intention of them being able to then speak. People need to learn the skill of asking questions and actually having the intention of listening. Listen with empathy, listen to understand, rather than asking questions so then you can speak. It's a skill. It is a skill. Going on the subject of your breakup, I know you posted a lot of content around that. How have you navigated that with the experiences of, your dad going through his depression and, everything that you've learned since? A breakup is a big thing. Massive impact on your well-being. How did you navigate that? Because I know you mentioned about you was in a relationship a few years ago.
Yeah.
You spoke about that and recently. How have you navigated that?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the balance right between keeping busy and setting new goals and, doing more exercise and all of those kind of things, with, like, if I want to sit there and cry, I'll sit there and cry. Because I learned before that if you don't do that, then when you come to the next relationship or the next thing, you haven't processed it, and it will just come back to haunt you. And so I think the classic thing is like, just stay busy, just stay busy, just stay busy. which is great because it distracts you. But I'm trying to be like, okay, if I feel it, because sometimes it will just come, the feelings will just come when I'm like, oh, right, okay. Like yesterday morning, I was like, oh, I feel awful. And I was like, if I don't let this out, then it's just going to niggle at me for the whole day. So I just sat on the sofa and I cried for 20 minutes. And afterwards, I felt so much better. I was like, right, crack on with the day now. I've done my bit of processing. I'm one step closer to feeling better again. And just really trying to remember that it's not permanent. This feeling is temporary and things will get better, which is it's actually really soothing to like, even when the mate's like, it's okay, like this is hard, but it's not forever. And someone saying that to you is like, oh yeah, you're right. That every day that goes by, there's going to be up and down. But every time I cry, it's a step closer to getting to where I want to be.
Yeah, you said something really, really important there. I say at the end of my talk, it says suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And again, if people could be reminded of not just within suicide, but just life in general. Like you just said, going through a breakup is incredibly difficult, but it is just a temporary thing.
Yeah, so you're grieving something.
Yeah, like, you're grieving a loss.
It's the same similar process. Like
It's life, isn't it? It's up and down and up and down. So I always say, when life is good, embrace it to the fullest and really make the most of it. Enjoy it for what it is, because there's going to come a point where you're going to go through a tough time. That's life.
Yeah.
But when you're in that tough time, as you mentioned, it's important to remember that it's only temporary and there is good times coming.
Always. And sometimes the bad times can push you to somewhere really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I got made redundant and now I'm like pursuing my passion full time. Like, what a privilege. Like, how amazing is that? If I hadn't been made redundant, I'd still be in a job that was fine, but it didn't get me up in the morning.
Yeah. The pain now is leading to something great in the future.
Exactly.
And like with Tom's Talks, for example, I wouldn't have done it if my brother had not taken his own life. We had a lovely message the other day, didn't we, of somebody saying, your content stopped me from taking my own life.
Wow.
I've had it very nice, obviously, for me and Amy, but we've had it a lot. Like the amount of lovely messages we get from people saying, your content stopped me from doing something stupid. But, if my brother hadn't taken his own life, then I wouldn't have started Tom's Talks. And if I'd not started Tom's Talks, then we wouldn't have received all those lovely messages. And it's just the message of, like life is a whirlwind of shit. It's just how you navigate your way through it. And if you can turn a negative into a positive and remember that the bad times are temporary, then, you're going to go somewhere where you'll find that purpose that we spoke about.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. So, so powerful. And amazing what you're doing as well. Like
I appreciate it, mate. I love it. I love it, mate. There's apart from marrying Amy, there's no other better feeling than standing up. No, standing up. I said this to Dan as well many times. Like there is what I mentioned. I said about suicide is the permanent solution. Sorry, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. That's the last thing that I say. I say suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If I'd have not done everything I said I did, I won't be here right now. If you ever feel like giving up, don't, because I promise you life is always worth living. And if you ever feel like you don't have a reason to stick around, I can guarantee that your friends and family will give you $1 million. So that's the last thing that I say. And I say it with such conviction and passion for obvious reasons. And you can just look at the audience and you can see everybody. It's like you can hear a pin drop. And there's no better feeling for me than that. It's such a high, like running and stuff like that. But like I said, it wouldn't have happened if my brother had not done what he did. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it's an amazing mindset.
Yeah, you sounds like you're gonna have these amazing things to look forward to. You're throwing yourself full into to doing the same thing.
Yeah, I look up to you in lots of ways because it's kind of like, especially with the talks, I'm like, they're awesome, and it's exactly the same kind of goal that I want to get to is turning something negative into a positive and having impact at scale.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing though with the content.
Thanks, man. I'm just gonna keep pushing with it.
Literally, that's it. Consistency. Yeah. I think we said a few years ago, we're going to post every single day on Instagram and TikTok and see what happens. Like the first few posts that you post, you're going to think, oh, no one cares. Like no one's bothered. but you just keep going and keep going and keep going, and then your content's really good. Like I said to you off camera, I love it. It's just just keeping consistent with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just got to like
grind it out.
Keep grinding it out, and when you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it, it's like, no, come on, like you got to keep going, and then the things will come. And it's easy when you're passionate about it, because when you have like a knockback, you're like, well, now I've got to do this because this is my mission. So it's going to keep going.
The reason why you're strong enough, you won't ever give up. So talk to me about. I was looking again for your Instagram. Talk to me about the trip to Japan.
Yeah,
because I said to you off camera, didn't I? How do you go to Japan, not being able to speak Japanese but teach English?
Yeah, so I think looking back, it was maybe like, how old was I? At 25, I was like a bit headstrong, like, yeah, I'm doing this, like, screw the corporate world, screw London, bad enough, gotta go to Japan. But yeah, they actually, in terms of the Japanese skills, they prefer it if you don't have any.
Right.
So in the classroom, it was me and there was a Japanese teacher who could speak some English. So like, if we needed to, they could do their thing, but they want you to always be speaking in English so that you're not directly translating from English to Japanese.
Right.
Which had its challenges, but yeah, it was such a cool experience. Like I just got thrown into the deep end.
How long were you there for then?
About 4 months.
4 months. I bet you learned a lot about yourself there. I would imagine.
I did. Yeah, it was tough because I was doing long distance as well. So like, yeah, my now ex-girlfriend was in London. I was in Japan on a 9-hour time difference. But I was like, I really want to pursue this kind of challenge. I've got to do it. But yeah, I got placed in a small fishing village, so it was quite lonely. So yeah, I did learn a lot. Like, well, I learned that I need to be around people. Like, I'm a really sociable person. So being alone in a tiny fishing village in Japan, although it was beautiful and the culture was awesome and I met some really cool people, didn't have that like community connection feel that I need. So that was just like one example of something that I learned. And I feel like you only can really, your like learning journey on yourself is so accelerated when you get put into an environment like that, or when you push yourself into somewhere new.
Yeah, I can imagine. Just a quick one. Most of you watching this episode aren't yet subscribed. So if you want your weekly motivation from some incredible guests, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn your notifications on. How was it speaking Japanese?
I loved it.
Go on then, give me some Japanese.
Oh God, what I used to say. When I'd leave the classroom, I'd say like, not the staff room. I'd be like, have a good weekend, which was yoi shimatsu wo sugoi shite kudasai.
Wow, that's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a real mouthful.
I'm not even going to pretend to try and do that.
Well, I hope that was right. Probably maybe some like Japanese listeners be like, that was really bad. But it's such a nice language because it's just so respectful.
You did that well. That sounded like, I mean, I don't know Japanese, but that's.
I was on the train practicing the whole night.
That sounded right. I can imagine though, with you hear a lot about Japanese culture and Chinese culture, and a lot of culture from the East. What did you take the most from their culture? Coming back to Western society, what was the biggest thing that you learned, or you thought, I could part of this culture, I would continue bringing it back to the West?
Just respect for other people.
Right.
The way they eat, simple things like the way they line up for the train, like even with COVID, like the way they use like face masks, it's all because they work as one, like to protect each other. Like they would wear, because they wore masks a lot longer than we did, because they're like, well, I've got to protect my team essentially, rather than, I need to look after myself. And that was one of my favorite things about it. It's just like, we're all in this together. Yeah. So respect each other.
Complete opposite to the West.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like, it's all me. Like, I've got to push people out my way to get to where I want to be. It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah. I'd hate to be trying to get on the tube at rush hour.
Yeah, it's became an interesting experience.
Yeah. Did you see the image from, I can't remember, it must have been the World Cup when it was the Japan
in the changing room? Yeah, I saw that.
And they all did the kit mans.
Yeah.
Sounds obviously similar to what your experience.
Oh yeah, like even in the school, like the kids, I never had to tell a kid off. They were just,
Really?
yeah, never. They were just so well behaved. It was a teacher's dream. Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, like and the kids were cleaning the school. Like that's how it's drilled into them.
Jesus, you won't get that in England.
No, you had no chance. Your kids would be out the door because they'd be like, well, no, I'm not doing that. But they just, half an hour a day, right, cleaning time. They were all there, cleaning the school.
So you said you were there for 4 months. What was the reason for coming home?
It was, I was struggling. I was struggling with the long distance. I was due to stay there till the end of March, and it got to mid-February, and I was like, I need to come home. And yeah, I was just like, I think I was scared about my relationship failing, and I felt like I needed to be home. And yeah, I was lonely there, and I wasn't. I had this huge expectation that it was going to be the time of my life, and I was going to absolutely thrive in it, and I would be there for like a year at least. But I quickly realised that wasn't the case. I think still to this day, like I don't really know why it didn't quite work out, but I can kind of put on the main factors that probably contributed to it.
If you're lonely, aren't you?
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Japanese that you just spoke sounded awesome, but if you're in a country where you can't have a proper, meaningful conversation with somebody, like genuine, connection is absolutely crucial to our well-being and our mental health. And if you don't have that, regardless of where you are, you're gonna feel isolated, aren't you?
Yeah, spot on.
It goes to the loneliness epidemic that we have, especially in men, especially in young men of our age, with the social media advancements and technology advancements. We've never been as connected as a society, but yet so disconnected as a society. And loneliness is the highest it's ever been. How have you found, with the work that you've been doing around mental health, how have you found that affecting people?
Yeah, I think it affects people hugely. It's a huge problem because, again, it goes back to, well, men need to talk more. But again, if you haven't, I can't remember the fact, I think it's something like 15% of guys don't have one close friend. I think I hear different numbers thrown around, so don't quote me on that. But it's definitely highlights the problem that if you're struggling with something, then but what if you don't have anyone to talk to? Like I left my mate a big voice note this morning because my brain was just whirring. I was like, how lucky I am to have someone to send that voice note to. And he sent a 14-minute voice note back to me.
14 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's just like such a good egg. And it just completely turned my day around.
Oh, brilliant.
But if I didn't have that, like who am I talking to?
Yeah.
I could go to a therapist. I could. But for small day-to-day things that you just want to offload to someone.
You want someone there, don't you?
You just want someone there. And it's like in the men's community I run, once you get guys into that space, whether it's, ideally face-to-face on our walks and coffees, there's no stopping them. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I just thought that they wouldn't be able to share if they were struggling with something, but it's give it 5 minutes and you're off.
There's a statistic here. So the World Health Organization declared that loneliness a public health concern due to its profound impact on mental and physical health, which can be as severe as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow. Yeah.
It's crazy, that.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And I think you're obviously trying to combat against that with the community that you started.
Yeah, exactly. It's just giving that space, or it's simply like come to the community to make some friends.
Yeah. Is that just specific to men, or is it?
It is a men's only community. Yeah, just because, I think women are a huge part of this as well, and they're amazing. Like, when my dad was unwell, there was a lot on my mum's shoulders. But for this particular example, with the community, it's having that space for guys if they want to share something that maybe, is a man-related thing and they might feel uncomfortable. It's important, I think, to have those spaces, whilst also, I think, I was at the tube station in London and there was the tube assistant there, and I said, I'm just going to run my walk and coffee. I run a men's community. And he looked like he had a heart attack because in his head he's thinking, oh, is this some really like far right extreme?
Oh, really?
And I was like, no. Like, And I think one of the values in the community is it's all about respect and equality. And you can champion. It's a great phrase. It's like it's not a zero-sum game, and it's like I'm trying to look after guys, but I also day to day look after the women in my life too.
Yeah.
So it's that like whole picture.
That's interesting that guy thought it was a far-right extremist.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, no. We're literally the opposite of everything that those people that I don't want to give the airtime to represent.
So how long have you been doing the community for?
Since like February.
Oh wow, so it's been going a few months now.
Yeah, 6 months now.
Oh, brilliant.
So
What's been the biggest challenge you've found with the community?
yeah, I think it's been a challenge and a huge learning is, I think what we've already spoken about is training guys to listen and training guys to ask the right questions and give the right responses. It can be so simple. Like someone shares something, just saying, thanks so much for sharing that with me. It's such a simple line, but so powerful. And so it's trying to, guys with brilliant intentions to bring that skill set to them. So it's a challenge, but it's also a huge opportunity and a huge learning.
What's been the biggest successes that you've had?
We did a yoga event. We had about 20 guys there.
Nice.
And we got Lululemon gave us all, like essentially sponsored it and gave yoga mats to all the guys.
Awesome.
It was just funny. People weren't taking it too seriously. The energy in the room afterwards was amazing. The conversations were flying. And I was just there and I looked around and I was like, hang on, there's 20 guys in here doing yoga.
Yeah.
Again, like challenging those kind of
Norms.
Those norms.
Yeah,
But the guys loved it. They absolutely loved it. And the yoga routine was actually quite strength focused. So, lots of the guys were like, this is really difficult. They thought they were just going to sit there for an hour and like breathe deeply. I was like, no, you're getting it's like a workout.
Yeah, I've never actually done yoga. It's something I'd love to try.
Yeah, and it might help your knee.
Yeah. My flexibility for one is absolutely horrendous. So I could help with that. Definitely. What's next with the community? So you've been going since February. It sounds like you've had a great time with it so far, and there's been a lot of positives that have come from it. You've also had the challenges as well, which obviously are only going to make you grow. What's next for the community?
Yeah, there's a few fun things in the pipeline. We've got keeping that regular movement of walks and coffees every 2 weeks because, a connection needs to be regular. So that's so important to have that kind of regularity. Special events like the yoga and summer hikes and things like that. We have just partnered with a great company called Counterpoise Wellness who do really affordable therapy. They got lots of grants from the government and from businesses.
Amazing.
So all the guys in the community can now get therapy for £25 an hour from a qualified, experienced therapist, which is brilliant.
Yeah, that's very
because sometimes it's a bit out of reach financially, which is so fair. So it's great to be able to offer that. So it's just more, partnering with brands to give guys in the community better access to things like that, and then starting to run online events as well. So I think the recent idea from my co-founder Tom is every 2 weeks having an online event. It's like what I've learned this week, and then it's to do with a certain topic. Right. So whether it's relationships or work, because we want the community to be growth focused. How can we okay, this is happening. What action can we take to move forward, and getting experts into those calls and. I'm just brain dumping, but that's kind of like
brain dump away.
That's where it's at.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How for anybody listening, how can people join the community?
Yeah, so there's an Instagram called Shoulder. It's called Shoulder to Shoulder. So there's an Instagram page called Shoulder to Shoulder Community. Yeah. And in the bio on there's a link to like a mini website with all the information on the community. It's nothing too fancy. I just cobbled it together. And in there's a link to the WhatsApp.
Wicked.
Community, which is how we kind of people, share messages in there seeking advice or just anything. It's turned into one big massive boys chat. So quite an interesting one.
Lads group chat.
Yeah.
I love that. I think one of the things that really perked my ear then was the affordable therapy, because I've had therapy this year and it's been an absolute game changer for me.
Nice one.
But it wasn't cheap at all. For me personally, it was worth every penny that I spent, but it's not affordable for a lot of people. So for the fact that you've found that affordable therapy, I think that's amazing, mate.
Thanks,
So, yeah,
man.
hats off to you for that.
Appreciate it.
And I
yeah.
think the work that you're doing, mate, I think it's incredibly important. And I really rate the fact that you've done very similar to me. You've turned such a negative thing into something positive, and you're trying to help other people. You're turning that pain into purpose, and you're doing incredible things, mate. And the affordable therapy, just for one, is that's amazing. So well done, mate. I really, really do take my hat off to you. What's next for you personally?
Yeah.
What's next for you? You've got the community.
Yeah.
For you, what's next?
The ultimate dream is to just keep doing this full time and keep doing my content, growing my following, work with cool brands that I want to work with that especially operate in that like mental health space.
Yeah, what brands?
I really want to work, like, perfect example is in London, there's a great company called Self Space. They have therapy on the high street, so you can actually walk into it. It's like a shop,
wow.
and you
Okay.
just go in and have a therapy session. You can book it as well.
Yeah.
I just think it's such a cool idea.
And what's it called?
Self Space.
Self Space. Get involved.
Yeah, get involved. I had a call with them this week. So.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wicked.
That's
Oh,
like
amazing.
like vision board kind
Yeah.
of,
Oh,
kind of
awesome.
vibes. And then going into more companies to do my talk,
Yeah.
because I just love doing it. And it's just like sharing Dad's story and what we can learn from it.
Yeah.
And it's like you said at the end of your talk, when you that kind of pin drop, like powerful moments, when I've done them, I'm just like, oh, I just want to do more and more of these.
Yeah.
And when it's like, oh, actually people engaged with it and they thought it was good. And it's like, okay, well, I think I should do more of these, because, your confidence grows eventually.
Yeah.
And then
You do. That's one of the best things about being a public speaker is you have I do a lot of mine in schools. When I first started doing it, you'd walk in and you'd be, oh God, are they going to get involved? Like, or you walk in, I've done some in some quite challenging schools, let's say, and you walk in, I remember what I was like at school, like trying to be the hard kid of the year. You see all these young lads like, this is going to be hard work, this. But it's a very rewarding feeling once you get into it and you see these lads, especially like almost looking up to you and hanging off every word that you say. And it's an incredible feeling, definitely. So I can see why, no, I'm looking forward to hearing of the success that you're going to have in the future, mate.
Thank
with that.
you. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So just one last question then, mate. I always like to finish the podcast on this. You were 23 when your dad was diagnosed with depression.
Yeah.
So you're 28 now. If you could go back to 23-year-old you and have a conversation with him, what would you say?
I'd say go easy on yourself. And I'd say in this moment, you're probably unsure how you can help. And I'd say all you need to do is, when you speak with Dad, just chat about how your day's going and what I'm up to. Just tell him that I'm here for him if he needs someone to listen. And as simple as that. That's what I say.
I love that, mate. What was your sister's sort of interaction like at that point with your dad? What with obviously a family dynamic, I've got an older brother and sister, and I was just thinking about your sister in that moment. Obviously, you had this conversation with your dad. What was that family dynamic like in that situation?
Yeah.
Your sister especially.
It was tough, and in some ways I look back on it with an element of regret, because it was a complicated time, because it was Dad went into hospital around end of Feb, March 2020. So COVID was kicking off. And my sister was in Australia at the time. She had to come home. I was home for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I don't think I understood like the magnitude, not the gratitude, that's the wrong word. The magnitude of what was going on. And I was like, I need to get back to uni. I can't be here. So I remember the motorways were so clear. There's no one on them. I just drove back down to Exeter, back down to uni. I just got my head down and focused on exams, and I just kind of distanced myself from what was going on at home. And so I think my mum and my sister kind of took the brunt of it, to be honest. And to this day, like, I still feel, people are like, oh, I don't feel guilty about it, but I do feel guilty about it. And someone said the other day, like, oh, do you think you're doing all this because you feel bad for what happened? And I'm like, maybe. Don't want to like try and fix that I wasn't there and I wasn't able to help, and I couldn't do my thing. And now it's like, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, my mum, my sister were amazing. My sister, yeah, she was had to come back from Australia and move home. Mum was sat by the phone all the time waiting for the doctors to call. There was just so much uncertainty. We couldn't see Dad. It was a really complex situation. So that's kind of, yeah, in answer to your question, that's kind of what the dynamic was like.
Tough though. It's tough to navigate those sort of things, but it sounds like you did the best job that you could have done in that situation. That's all we can ever do. And at the end of the day, mate, like I said, look at what you're doing now, you know. And I take my hat off to you. There needs to be more work done, like people like yourself, mate. So,
Well, likewise.
yeah, no, it's you know, we need to do it together. You know, we need to help and just keep doing the work that we're doing. And yeah, more people are needed like that. So I take my hat off to you, mate, and I can't wait to hear about all your success in the future.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.